Welcome to Human Potential at Work, the show where we explore social impact, inclusion, and empowerment of everyone, including persons with disabilities. Your host is Debra, CEO of Rue Global Impact and co-founder and chairwoman of Billion Strong, an identity and empowerment organization designed to bring billions of voices of persons with disabilities together. To join the global community and to donate to the cause, visit billion-strong.org. That's billion-strong.org. And now, on to the episode.
Hello, everyone. My name is Debra Rue, and today we are going to talk to a wonderful woman that I met on LinkedIn. And we just immediately connected, and she graciously has become a global advisor for Billion Strong. And we started talking more about her lived experiences with disabilities, and she graciously agreed to be on the show too. So, and I will warn you, she's got a black lab in the background that might decide to come in and say hello, barking. So, but if her baby says hello, Tiffany will do that. But so once again, I'm Debra Rue. I'm the CEO of Rue Global Impact and the vice chair of Billion Strong. And I want to give you a quick visual description in case you can't see us or you're on the pod, you're just listening to the show. But I am a white woman, an older white woman with gray hair that has purple through it. And I have on gray glasses today and a chain with multicolored stones. And then I have to look to see what I'm wearing. I'm wearing black and green today. And it is really hot where I am, so I'm wearing short sleeves. So Tiffany, welcome to the program. I know that you're an educator and you are a proud woman with lived experiences with disabilities. And before we went on air, you mentioned that you really learned to start advocating for yourself around high school. So welcome to the program.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. I've never been on a podcast before, so this is new to me, but I live in St. Louis, Missouri. So shout out to all the St. Louis people out there. And I am 34 years old, and I have the disability spastic diplegia cerebral palsy. Try to say that 5 times fast.
Oh, wow.
And I have had that since birth, but I didn't officially get diagnosed with it till about 3 months old.
Okay.
So that is my full diagnosis.
Tiffany, give us a visual description of yourself. That's always so interesting what people choose to describe, but also very helpful for people that can't see.
Okay. I have brown, blondish hair in a ponytail, and then a pink striped shirt with a blue jean jacket.
And a lovely flower behind your head, too. Just saying.
Yes. Yeah,
A picture.
absolutely.
So, Tiffany, tell us more about how it was. You know, you got a diagnosis at 3 months old.
Uh-huh.
How was before you got to high school? How was it, being, having cerebral palsy, but being in school?
Let's see. Well, I had years and years of physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, you name it, I've probably done it. But for most of my grade school years, I went to a parochial school, or they call it Catholic grade school. So I tried to fit it in with everybody the best I could, but I struggled. I struggled socially to find my own friends, which I'm sure a lot of the viewers probably have struggled with that as well. But luckily, I had an identical twin sister, so that helped me socially as well. But I would say the hardest part for me, other than the social part, was dealing with like school assignments and getting those things done, because I struggled a lot with learning, especially when it came to math. That was like what I would call my Achilles heel. I don't know if that's a good terminology, but that was my
Oh,
Achilles.
no. I'm with you there. I love the math.
And then and then to kind of get background, I probably didn't start walking until I was about 3 years old. And even then, that was with a backwards walker. And then by the time I was in first grade, I had started walking with a cane. So that was my main mobility device, mainly in grade school. But it was still
How did your peers treat you since you did have a cane?
In my younger years or primary grade, I should say first through third grade, they call that like the primary grade. I don't think they really noticed a difference.
Good.
I don't think kids started noticing a difference until fourth grade, like around 9, 10 years old, I would say. And then it started becoming harder to really fit in. I would say 10 years old, around that preteen time or tween time, it started really being difficult to, or it was really difficult to fit in. I was,
Yeah. I remember my daughter is 35 now, but I was so worried about her when her brother and her were going to, because her brother had caught up with her because we held her back a grade to let her get the basics again, just to help her with her education. And I was so worried she was going to be bullied by the middle school kids. But what happened was she really wasn't bullied. Now my son was, but so I mean they were bullying each other. But for some reason, with with my daughter with Down syndrome, it's like the kids knew she somehow was off limits. It was fascinating to watch. They didn't do that across the board with all disabilities. I saw the kids being mean to, Sarah's peers that had autism and some of her peers that had cerebral palsy. But for some reason, Down syndrome, they knew you weren't supposed to pick on people with Down syndrome. So
Mhm.
I was glad at the time. I mean, she's 35 now, but I really wish we wouldn't pick on anybody. But
We're
anyway,
about the same
yeah,
age. We're about the same.
I know. I know it could be wrong. Right. So, yeah, it gave me hope because of your generation. I have a lot of faith in your generation and the younger generation. So really wanting to make the world work for everybody and not, keep deciding that large segments of us are broken. But all right, so you talked about your peers started noticing the difference in around fourth grade.
Mhm.
So tell us more about as that unfolded from there until when you really started figuring out how to advocate for yourself in high school. And when I say that, Tiffany, am I saying you were able to advocate for yourself with your student peers or with the teachers and administration, or is that across the board? So as you tell your story, just think about it like that.
Um, let's see. So after fourth grade, I was like, I had friends, but they were like my sister's friends, as I would say. And,
Yes.
they're,
Yes.
I mean, they were my friends, but I still kind of felt still different,
Right.
if that makes sense.
It
Um,
does make sense. It does make sense.
mhm,
Because, Tiffany, one thing that we're learning at Billion Strong with Dr. Lamondre Pugh is like, we want society to treat people with lived experiences better, like we add value. Okay. But he also reminded me that we also have to work on what we feel about ourselves. So the society has told you you're different, Tiffany, and society has told you you're this or you're that. And do you believe society? He said that's a very big part that needs to be addressed too, because after a while, people start believing that maybe I am broken or maybe I'm not good enough, or because I'm using a cane, I'm not as good as that guy that can run and stupid stuff like that. There's just two parts of it: how society sees you, but how you see yourself.
mhm. Yeah, and I would say I really started getting into my own in high school because, the school is bigger, there's more clubs to join, and you don't feel so different. So high school went a lot better for me. And I would say too, I also had a really, really awesome resource teacher. So she was always there for me too and made sure everything went as it was supposed to go, you know.
Well,
So I had a really good support system in high school, which really,
yeah.
really helped.
It really helped my family too, because we had a really good resource teacher that was beneficial to both my son and daughter. So, all right, so you've been advocating for yourself and others, and now you're in the education system. How is the work that you've done on yourself to learn how to advocate for yourself helped you advocate for others in the education system?
Oh my goodness. Well,
Right.
I would say that because of what I went through growing up, it's helped me advocate for things in my job and everything else. It's really kind of gone full circle. And it's really kind of benefited me. Like with my struggles that I dealt with growing up, it's benefited me beyond that.
Has this helped you grow? Yeah.
Yes, it helps me grow. And I would say too, because I did 2 years at Merrimack Community College, and then I transferred over to SIUE, which is Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. Shout out to the Cougars. But when I got to the university, I had a awesome mentor professor in my degree program. I was a speech communication major. And I would say with everything, he really, really taught me how to advocate for myself. And he really taught me how to navigate, college and advocating for like different accommodations. So it was awesome. Shout out to Duff Roble.
I agree because you know what? The people that, step up to mentor us, they're our gifts. And we should all be stepping up to mentor each other. I know, Tiffany, that's something that's very important to you, helping others.
Mhm.
And so sometimes as we walk our really hard lives, our lives can be very difficult. We learn, but you have those, angels along the way, like this gentleman that just changed your life and others. So,
Yeah, we still talk
our,
to this day.
well, that's so
We still keep in
wonderful.
touch to this day.
He must be proud. He's got to be so proud of you. So
Yeah,
that's
he is.
because we all want legacy. I think most of us want to make a difference. So Tiffany, after you got out of after you got out of college, tell us about how the job hunting went, because I find it's what's interesting. And one reason why I wanted to talk to you is the problems that we run into are different as we as we live our lives, right? Because the issues you're going to run into, and then of course it depends on where you are in the world, but
Mhm.
if you're in the United States or if you're in the UK or in a it doesn't really matter. The issues that you're going to have to deal with when you're a baby versus now you're a toddler versus you're an elementary school, primary school, into high school, into college. It's just interesting. It's interesting because each phase, it really, you have to learn a whole nother set of skills. You get to use these skills you learn with the other ones, but you build upon it and makes us stronger and stronger. But I just think it's important to remind people that, because once again, my daughter with Down syndrome is 35, and the issues that she has today are so different than the issues I dealt with when she was a little girl. When
Mhm.
she was being a brat, when she was a little girl, I could just pick her up and move her. I can't do that anymore. So you try to drag her. No, but at the same time, I mean, I just wanted to sort of show how as we move to the next chapters in our life, you're stopped again. Got to figure out the keys to get in now to employment and how to be valid. And so it's just so much more difficult. And that's one thing I just wanted, to show with your story.
Well, so college, from the community college all the way to university, in all, it took me 8 years to graduate with my bachelor's degree. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. What I did was I I took classes during the year, but I took summers off because I needed that break to
Good.
physically and mentally like recharge. Because,
Mhm.
research papers tire you.
Oh,
Homework
I agree.
homework is exhausting. And I just needed that break. So college took me about 8 years. And then from the time I started job hunting to the time I got fully employed, it took me 6 years to
Wow.
find a job.
Wow.
Six
Wow.
years. But we all, we all have a different path. And,
Mhm.
you know, that was just how it was supposed to happen, you know?
Yep, I think you're right. How long have you been in your current position?
I just finished my second year.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes. And
Congratulations.
I love my job. I love working in education, and I believe I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Right. And you get to take all the lessons that you learned from others and lessons you taught yourself, and now it apply it to help others in the education system, which is so important.
Yes, it is. Like most people get their driver's license at 16. I didn't get my driver's license till I was 30.
Yes. And I'll also say this, Tiffany. We use these little things like I mean, especially when kids are little. So when did your baby start walking? It's like this competition we do try to make people feel bad about themselves. I remember one time my son was, and he was really little. He was like a year and a half maybe. And what he had done, well, first of all, I'll tell you what I said. I said to one of my neighbors who had a baby around his age, "My son can read." And she's like, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, he reads this book. I forget what the Cat in the Hat or something." And what was happening was he couldn't read, but he had memorized the story. So I would start it and then he memorized it. So he knew what the words were because they were so simple and sing song. But what was interesting, this lady was like, "Oh my God, my son can't read." She was so freaked out. And I'm like, "Well, I'm just kidding." But it's like we put these artificial things on ourselves and each other. Oh no, you have to drive when you're 16. No, when you're 30, well, there are quite a few people your age that don't have licenses. And that's something that's being very common in the United States. And so and around the world.
Mhm. And actually, I have my driver's license, but I still actually drive with someone else in the car still because I'm still, you know, getting over
Getting
the
used to it.
what? I'm still
Right.
getting used to it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I remember when I was teaching, and teaching is probably not the right word, my son to drive. I tortured him, Tiffany. I tortured him. I did. I tortured him. I made him drive so much that he got sick of doing it. And he's like, "No, I don't want to." But I knew the one thing I could give him was experience behind the wheel because that's the most, you just have to get experience.
Mhm.
And so that's what you're walking right now. We have to get experience and we have to be kind to each other as we're doing that. So I think it's important to talk about the different stages though. But the good news is you have a driver's license and you drive. So I don't really care if you got it when you're 30. I'll tell you this, Tiffany. Now I'm 63. It took me 4 times to pass the driver's license test in Florida, 4 times, but the reason why was because I could not parallel park my parents' station wagon,
Guess
and
what?
at
I
the
still
time, you
can't
had to
parallel
do it.
park.
Do they still make you parallel park? Because I was like,
They still make you parallel park, but
so sweet.
but even if you can't parallel park, there's still a way for you to pass. Like it's not
Alright,
a
well, the guy just
test, which is awesome. I still can't parallel park.
I can't either at 4 times, and finally, the guy just felt sorry for me, and he gave it. He said, "Go out and practice parallel parking." "Okay, I will." But I can't actually parallel park now, but it's just funny. So once again, what matters is that you have your college degree and that you have your driver's license and that you have a job but I think also somebody like you becomes an even better employee because you've worked so hard every single phase of your life to be
Yeah,
included.
I have to
And
work
so
twice as hard to like get everything done.
right, right. And so, Tiffany, what do you have to say to employers that are hesitant to hire people with disabilities like cerebral palsy and stuff?
I would say just give them a chance. Give them a chance. That's the best thing I could say.
Right. And not just one person a chance. That puts a lot of pressure on just one person. Give a team of people a chance, and stand behind them and support them. Who wants to be the only women in, a workforce with men or the only white person? I mean, people like to be, feel like they're, part of a team, a tribe. So, but also, Tiffany, what would you say to people with disabilities that are really struggling to get, accepted in school and in college, or even be included in the workforce in meaningful ways?
I would say keep trying, don't give up, and just keep working at it. You know, there were lots of times where I just wanted to give up, and I'm like, okay, the path is going to show up somehow. Like like it will show me what to do somehow. Like the path will show up, and I'll just go that path. Because like I said, 6 years,
Right.
6 years.
Right.
When you're trying to find employment in a job, some days you just feel like you're hitting a brick wall, but
Right.
it will happen. You just can't be afraid to try.
Right. And did you find, because I know this answer because you've already told us, but how about finding people along your path to help? Like the teachers that you mentioned, for example, the professor you had mentioned. Do you find that it's helped to find mentors and other people that have some of the same lived experience as you how did you do it? And learning from each other and things like that?
Um,
Did that add any value?
Absolutely. Like I said,
Yep.
my professor was a huge, but also I got help through the Starcloth Disability Institute, and they opened doors for me as well and really helps me get over that hump as to, try to figure out where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be, doing, how to conquer this. But they were a huge help, and I don't know where I would be without my mentors.
I
And
agree.
it doesn't even have to be, for after college and,
Right.
getting a job. Like my whole entire life, honestly.
I agree. I agree. Mentors, I try to be mentors to people and let them mentor me because we're adults. So we all bring different things to the table. I might have more experience than you in these things because I'm older than you, but it doesn't mean that you don't add value to the conversations that I can't learn from you. So
Right.
some of my greatest teachers are people that are much younger than me. So, but I also learn from people that are older than me. So I think mentors are so, so important.
Right.
So
Because
Tiffany,
because of the people I've met, I've opened even more doors. Like I'm a national pageant queen. You know, I wouldn't have thought in a million years that I would be a national pageant queen, but I am, you know.
I know it's so funny. So what's your title?
So I was the 2013 National Miss Amazing Miss Queen.
Wow.
So
I want to be a Miss Amazing. That's cool. You're Miss Amazing and Miss Queen?
yeah,
Cool.
and what's cool is the pageant is for just people with disabilities.
Oh, that is cool.
Uh,
That is cool.
so it's awesome. So I won the state title and then went to nationals and won the national title for my age division. And
Oh, that is
it
so
was an
cool.
awesome experience. Would
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
anybody
agree.
recommend it to anybody. There are a lot of different states and have it now. So that's really
Right.
cool.
Yeah, that is cool. That's a great accomplishment. So Tiffany, I know that you're on LinkedIn because that's where you and I connected, and I appreciate so much your advocacy and leadership. But tell the audience how they could contact you if they wanted to learn more about your work.
So I also have a public Facebook page, Tiffany Eickhoff. So my name Tiffany and then Eickhoff. It's a tongue twister. It's it's Eickhoff. And I would love to connect with everybody.
Yeah, that's something that I think that Tiffany's really good at is advocating with her peers. So reach out to her, use her as a speaker, listen to her, learn from her. She's a really good advocate and a very good educator. So, and she has a powerful story that is still unfolding.
Yes,
So
absolutely. And I still have many goals. I would love to write a book. So if anybody has any connections with that, I would love to connect with you.
we're going to publish books at Billion Strong.
Oh,
That's one of the things we're going to offer because we want to make sure that our community's voices are heard. And we find a lot of people with disabilities that have written books are struggling to get them published.
mhm,
So that's one thing we'll do at Billion Strong as we move
absolutely.
forward. So
Uh,
I'll help you.
and then I would love to be in a movie one day. I've
Oh,
always wanted to be in a movie, but that is one of my, like I said, many goals.
as an extra or as a more than that.
Both, both. I would just love to do that.
Yeah. My husband, my late husband and my daughter, they have been in several movies. My husband was he was in the Lincoln movie. And you might have seen him tip his hat. No, you probably did. He was just an extra. And then they were both in two Will Ferrell movies. There's one about basketball, I forget. But what they did was when we went to Hollywood, if you want to be an extra, you just give them your name, and almost every day they're looking for extras. It's real easy to get non-speaking, non-paying extra parts in California. But yeah, but it was a long day. And
That
so,
that is
well,
that is amazing. That is awesome.
I know. Semi-pro, it was called Semi-pro, and I forgot.
I remember that movie.
Yeah, it was a little stupid, but there was a girl with a green dress. Yeah, yeah. No, you definitely would not have seen it. But any other goals for life? So
Oh, goodness. I would love to be a professional motivational speaker. I've done it occasionally, but I would love to do some professionally. Like I've done a lot of volunteer guest speaking, but I would love to do it a lot professionally.
yeah, and that's something else we're going to do as a speakers bureau. And so you definitely will be speaking because there's some conferences coming up. So that's one thing we want to make sure that Billion Strong gives to our community because we want employers and corporations and other brands to know our community. I want people to know Tiffany. I want you to know about the Tiffany's of the world that has worked so hard to get where she is and would never let anything get in her way. Those are kind of employees they're looking for. So yeah, we're really excited that Tiffany has agreed to volunteer with Billion Strong, and I love her voice, and I look forward to watching you just, become a professional speaker and everything else, Tiffany.
And believe it or not, I used to stutter really, really, really bad. But
Oh, how
I've gotten over a lot of it. I
so that will help too. That's an important message to give people hope, you know? So
still happens
yeah,
occasionally, it'll creep up, but I've gotten over a lot of it. I used to not be able to really have a one-on-one conversation or talk on the phone very well. And
wow.
and I've
So
overcome a
you've
lot of it.
really,
Yes.
well, I appreciate how brilliant you are. So for the audience, we will make sure that we have her name in there so you can find her on LinkedIn and other places. And you can always come to me if you can't find her and I'll connect you to her by email. But I think Tiffany's voice is really needed and she's a great person you could invite to speak for your company if you're doing panels and stuff. So, yeah, I think Tiffany's our future. So Tiffany, thank you. Thank you for all the leadership, the advocacy, helping all the others and for fighting for yourself too. Thank
Oh,
you for
well,
that.
thank you so much for having me.
Yes, you were wonderful. And I look forward to having her on again. And please look for Billion Strong. She's definitely going to be speaking. And apparently we're going to publish one of her books. So very exciting time. So thank you, Tiffany.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
everyone.
much.
You've been listening to Human Potential at Work. To learn more about Rue Global Impact, visit rueglobal.com. And to learn more about Billion Strong, an identity and empowerment organization designed to bring the billions of voices of persons with disabilities together, you can join the global community and donate at billion-strong.org. That's billion-strong.org.